The pound flash crash last night. Let's take a look at what happened. A very good evening to you traders. This is Mark. Welcome to a daily trading video. Well, actually it's the afternoon, but I want to talk about this pound flash crash last night. Basically in the middle of the night, all of a sudden the pound dropped from 126 down to 120. Huge, massive move, unheard of. And if you look on a daily chart, just to put it into perspective, you know, let me scan across. I thought that seemed a bit high. I mean, look at what that has done to the currency and to the move. Now, what actually happened? Well, do you know what? It's a combination. No one knows what happened. This is my speculation on things. I've seen probably a dozen of these type of scenarios across my career in different assets. I've seen the HSBC one. I've seen one in crude oil. It was actually caused by, I think, a Goldman Sachs trader in the evening. We left his keyboard on or something like that. Something unusual. I've seen all sorts of things like this. And generally, what happens when you get this kind of spike is that the initial move is caused by a bit of a rogue sell order. So in the middle of the night, pound US dollar is relatively thin. There's not much action going on. It's not a very busy time for the market. So the order book is going to be thin. Now, the order book, if you haven't seen an order book, in fact, let me just pause this and I'll go and find one from Google for you and come. Okay, so I've just started off the internet. I haven't got my full platform on this laptop. Otherwise, I'll just pull up from my platform. But anyway, if you can imagine here, these are all the buyers that are waiting to buy, whatever this may be. It looks like the S&P, and these are all the people looking to sell. Okay, and the price moves because somebody then takes the price at that level, and it's going to take 660 contracts to move to the next one. So if someone bought 661, the price would move to 1543.75. If he then bought all of those and then started nibbling away at some of these, the price would then become that. So that's what moves the price. So ultimately, this is obviously quite a thick order book. It looks like the S&P. In the middle of the night, if you can imagine on the pound, across the interbanks, it's not quite the same because it's not a centralized exchange, but it's very similar for this sort of purpose. If you imagine on this order book, instead of being thousands there, you've got something like a million, 2 million, 2 million, 5 million, 500,000, just very small amounts of money because it's very thin. So what happens is someone comes along, and if he sells 100 million cable, that's going to go at market. What that means is he's going to take everything he can until he gets his order filled. And if the order book is very thin, what happens is the price is going to go run straight down as it tries to go through, chomps through all these instantly, attempting to fill. That's the difference between obviously a market order and a limit. If you put a limit order in, then you're going to limit the price you get executed out of at the level you specify. But if you're using a market, it's going to sweep the whole of the book. So what happened then is I think someone came in and put an order in. It swept the book, but because it coincided with allegedly some comments by Francois Hollande with respect to Brexit, I think the algorithms as well spotted the move in the market, spotted the headline, and then thought, we're going to press this, and these algorithms are going to hit the bid. Of course, there's no liquidity there, and any algorithms, of course, that are long and are perhaps fading that initial spike, looking for a mean reversion back up to there, the early ones, the guys who are buying here thinking, okay, it's just a fat thing, how then have to come out as well because their risk management is saying we're well out of tolerance here, we need to come out. So of course all that provides is a massive wave of selling, no buyers to step in, or very few buyers to scoop that up. And then, of course, that's when you get that massive down move. And it's probably done on not a lot of volume. I'd love to see exactly what happened, on which interbank market and see how much was actually traded there. I bet you it was very little amount. Obviously, once you've done that, then that wakes up everybody, all the other algos, and you start getting the resultant bounce back up and what have you, and the settling down. But these are the sort of things that can happen. And with the rise of algorithmic trading, this is going to happen more and more. And this is the main danger to the market. We had the flash crash many years ago, wasn't as brutal as this, but it's the same type of thing. Liquidity in the market is so important. If we don't have it, you get everyone trying to squeeze through a little door, and especially when those people are computers and they're programmed to squeeze through the door whatever because their risk management is very strict, then this is when you get the problems. And of course no algo is going to step up and put a bid in at that point because they don't know what's going on. They think, well, who knows, we're not going to risk our money yet until things settle down. That could be milliseconds, could be seconds, could be a minute, but that's where you get that liquidity vacuum. So That's what I think happened. We may never find out. Obviously, it's a personal thing for a bank. If they've done it, they're not entitled to disclose it. They've not done anything wrong unless they're proved to have been manipulating it for their benefit. They're going to have lost money on this because obviously they're going to have sold all the way down and probably sold most of it right at the bottom here, which is the worst place they've done it. So unless there's some sort of counter trade that they're linked into, some sort of digital option, possibly unlikely, then they will have lost money on that. So somebody's probably getting fired unless it was a genuine mistake. So point is, keep an eye out for that. You've got to. Can you avoid it? You can't avoid it. If you're trading overnight, you've got to accept it. Will your stop loss have saved you? I don't know. I mean, this isn't the best data feed I've got here. If it was trading very sequentially on the way down, possibly. But if it's just sweeping the whole order book, then no, you're going to get the worst stop ever. So it might be prudent to use a stop limit so you don't get caught out on something like this. But then again, you've got to weigh up the cost of getting out. If we just drive lower and lower and lower and lower on some really bad news. It's a risk you take, guys. It works both ways. If you were short and you had a limit down there, you probably maybe you've got filled and you've made yourself a nice 600 pips. I doubt anyone's done that, but it works both ways. So anyway, I had a great trading day today. Well, I hope you do have a great trading day today. Whenever you listen to this, I shall be back with another. Have a great weekend. Back with another video on Monday. Take care.